look what I found.
Buckle up, Buttercup!
Today's video is all about adding an aftermarket sub and amp to the Bronco. However, there's a little twist to this video because the other day Jim and I were taking apart the Bronco, because that's really all I ever do is take apart this Bronco and add parts. But we were kind of contemplating, you know, there's a couple speaker boxes out on the market. What am I gonna do? I did the JBL Bass Pro Go before, and I was actually really happy with it. But I'm like, you know what, let's do some digging around. I would love to save the space in my trunk and not have a mounted subwoofer or anything like I did before. I used to have my JBL Bass Pro Go mounted to my cargo enclosure that I had in my old Bronco. I ended up not being a huge fan of that cargo enclosure, and I ended up selling it, and I don't plan to get one with this Bronco, at least not yet. So I did some digging around. I'm like, why don't we take off this panel and see if either I can fit the Bass Pro Go in here, or we'll check out some other aftermarket speaker boxes. And much to my surprise, we found a nice little speaker box right in here with a dummy speaker and a dummy amplifier. I thought it was kind of fun. I had no idea why that was in there. I made a couple reels about it and they went viral. I'm talking like 1.7 million views. Still trying to figure out why Ford would put a dummy speaker and amplifier into the wheel well of the Bronco like it was a B&O system. Fits right in there. It's the craziest thing ever. Even my panel has a speaker here. This is gonna make converting this into a workable sound system fairly easy. Stay tuned. Let's go over here and check out the speaker box. We went ahead and took everything apart from this speaker box. As you can see here, this is the dummy speaker that was in there. This piece was on top of it. But you guys, no, I'm not stupid. This is not a speaker. Can you see? It's just empty nothingness. It is not a speaker. Yes, it has wires. It also had a dummy amp. It looks real. This stuff looks real, kind of feels real. This is a little light, but it's not real. I'm not that dumb. I know the difference between a working speaker and amp and one that's fake. But I did learn a couple things. Everyone had an opinion on why I found this in my Bronco. I tried to reach out to some of my contacts at Ford to get an official response. I even had people in the Ford plant messaging me like, oh my gosh, that's quality control. We're so sorry. You know, what can we do to make it better? I'm like, dudes, I'm happy about this. I'm not mad about it at all. This is gonna make upgrading my whole stereo system so much easier. I did have some people say that it was because you ordered a B&O system, so they put that there and there was constraints. And I'm like, well, no, I didn't order a B&O. Then I had other people saying when the crash tests were done, the speaker box and everything was in the Bronco, and in order for them to move forward and not redo other crash tests, that speaker box had to stay in there. And then there are some things with a $250 credit on a window sticker, and just, there were so many things. I really don't care why it's in there. I just know that it is in there, and I did not have that in my other Bronco. Everyone's like, hey, this has been in there forever. You're an idiot, blah, 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 blah. My 2021 Bronco Outer Banks did not have this. In fact, it had a pocket in the panel. So let's move over here to the panel. As you can see, there's a speaker panel here. This clearly looks like there should be a speaker there, but there's not in mine. It is a fake speaker. So really, this is gonna make upgrading the sound system or the subwoofer in the Bronco extremely simple. Couple things about the amp here. Here's the amp I'm going to try first. This is a Ford Fusion amp. It is plug and play and comparable to what the Bronco would come with. I don't know if this is gonna give me enough power for the sound that I want. I don't know. We're just gonna trial and error here. And then I went ahead and went with the Kicker 6 3/4 subwoofer here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put in the subwoofer here and then plug in the amp, and I think I need to go into Forscan and do something in there to make the wiring work with this. If you look here, it's plug and play ready. There's wires and everything. I just don't think that these wires are working right now. So I have to go into Forscan and into the computer and trigger something. I could have easily gotten an old B&O subwoofer out of someone else's Bronco that upgraded. I didn't want to do that because I think this is just going to be a better speaker overall. It's going to fit perfectly into this box, so I don't have to modify this box at all. I'm going to try this out to see if this is going to be enough oomph for me. So I figured, why not start from the very beginning with no modifications? I mean, this box is, you know, a pretty good design. I think it was very thoughtful, and it is going to fit right in that wheel well, and then put the panel back in, and I'm losing no trunk space at all, but should add the bass sound. We got Jimmy here because he's gonna do the dirty work.
Oh yeah.
Because if he messes up, I can be mad at him, not at myself.
It's just somebody to blame, huh?
I'm smart.
We're pretty much pre-wiring our speaker to fit into the box, so I'll kind of show you how we're going to do that. With our dummy speaker here, we had the factory wiring harness actually pre-attached to these prongs on both sides. Now, of course, those wires don't go to anything, but the prongs that we have here don't fit our new speaker. So what we did is removed the factory wiring harness, put the speaker to the side with a pair of cutters. We actually cut the prongs that were on the end of this off, and then we just stripped that wire and put it in our little locks, and now our speaker is ready with the factory harness to go into the box.
Ooh, it looks pretty.
Oh yeah.
Way better than a dummy speaker.
I would agree. Even from the factory setup, there's a little indentation here where our wiring harness goes underneath the plate for the speaker. So everything here is ready to go. We just are going to get some new hardware for this. We're going to put a little Loctite on those screws, and then we're going to screw this down nice and tight, and we still have enough length to get to our amp. Luckily we have the cargo mat, so I'm not terribly worried about making a mess, although I will keep the Loctite to a minimum.
You better not be messing up my Bronco. That's my job. It's still pretty clean.
I do agree.
I mean, it is super clean right now. Look at that. It's spotless.
At this point, we can start lightly screwing our speaker into the box.
Uh-oh, don't mess up.
I'm trying not to.
Don't mess up.
So much pressure.
This is why you're doing this. Because if I was in charge of the drill, who knows what kind of holes I would be making.
Well, this is pretty easy. Luckily, the whole surface here is flat. So we're just going to start the screw and kind of get it down in, but we're not going to tighten it up yet. We're going to do all that by hand. And just as a rule of thumb, as we install these screws, we're doing it on a crosshatch pattern so that we can really kind of bring the whole sub down on a level surface and not like pinch it one way or another.
You did it successfully. I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it. I believed in you the entire time. The entire time. I think that's a job that I could do.
Oh, I think you could handle this.
That's okay. You can go ahead. It's kind of nice being camera lady. Since I don't have to actually drill into something, can I do the amp?
Yeah, sure, why not? Here
Yay.
you go. Ooh.
This is something I can do, clearly. I didn't really want to do the speaker part just because drilling into that box made me nervous because I want it to be like pristine. This is probably the easiest subwoofer install you could ever possibly do on the Bronco. The last thing we need to do is put on this pressure ring. I did not record like the disassembly of all of this, but this was on top of the dummy speaker. The last thing we need to do is just put this right up here, install it, connect this other wiring harness, and then we are going to mess with Forscan. All right. As you can see, this is a different day. New clothes, new everything. That's because I came across a couple problems, but you know what? I'm here to find out the problems and solutions for you. So before we get started, number one, you do need a Windows computer or laptops. If you don't have that, find a friend. Second, you need the proper equipment. A couple years ago, I did some Forscan changes and I talked about a cable that I had, but With the newer models, new Forscan, the cable I had before no longer is compatible with this. So I had to go on Amazon and buy this new cable. I will put a link up in the cards and in the description below to this specific cable. The next thing is make sure you upgrade to the latest Forscan software because this is a 23, it's a newer model, there's different changes. I ran into some problems because I had the Ford Performance tune on there, but we got everything taken care of. As long as you have the proper cable and update the Forscan to the newest software, you should be able to do this with no problem. To get started, you're going to plug this into your OBD2 port right down here, hook this up to the computer, and then I'm going to screen record the changes that I'm going to be doing in the software so you can see for yourself. After that, I'll show you a before and after of the sound system. First, you need to connect the cable to your OBD2 port. Turn the vehicle to accessory mode on, but do not start the ignition. Then you're going to go to the left bottom button to connect the software to the cable. If you get a warning, press no. If this is your first time running Forscan, make sure you save a stock file to the program. I've already done this, so I'm going to press no. Allow time for all of your modules to load. Once all the modules have loaded, press the configuration button, which is one of the big icons third from the bottom. Look for the ACM control module in the as-built format, then press the run button, which looks like a play button. Press OK. The configuration we're looking for is the 727-01-01. In the second column, you're going to see it read 14F1. We're going to change that 4 to a 6. Then on the third column, you're going to change the 0098 to a 009A as an alpha. Hit right, then cycle your ignition off and on, then press OK. You have now activated the rear sub and amp. Then press the button that disconnects the cable from the software. All the Forscan changes that were necessary are completed. Now I'm going to show you a before and after audio comparison. Happy with the changes? Yes, I think for a couple $100, it's definitely a huge improvement with the sound system. I mean, you can update speakers all around. You could do a lot of other things to make it sound better. Now, I had the JBL Bass Pro Go in my other Bronco, and that thing had a lot of kick to it, and you could really feel the bass as you're driving. Don't expect that from the changes that are made with this subwoofer. I may down the road get a different amplifier or try to make some other modifications because I really like to feel my bass. Are you gonna feel it? Not really. You're gonna feel it a little bit, but it's not like that boom, boom, shaking like, okay, I'm pulling in the neighborhood, now all my neighbors know I'm home. It is a noticeable difference and it's a huge improvement. Look at my trunk space. I have all the trunk space. I don't have any big subwoofers, amplifiers, or anything blocking any use of my trunk. I've got 3 kids, guys. They have so much stuff, hockey sticks and groceries. This is a total mall crawler. I never have like recovery gear or anything in here. So, I mean, I don't need room for that. But you guys, this is an awesome upgrade. I do recommend it. I'll put the links to everything that I bought down in the description below, the speaker, the amplifier, and the tool for the Forscan. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure to give me a like and a subscribe and check out buckleupoffroad.com. Until next time, buckle up, Buttercup.